There is a well-known quote that states, "Life is not about what happens to us. Life is about how we respond to what happens to us." And I find that if you really sit and think about this, it's a pretty powerful statement. So in this video, I'm going to dive into my opinions on the matter. Let's get into it. First up, the quote itself. So a lot of times, a lot of us are going through the same circumstances, but we are having a different experience. So when I think about this on a very specific example, let's say there are two children who grew up in a household that's very chaotic. Maybe the mother or the father or both were alcoholics. And so from that circumstance, because again, they grew up in the same household, so they're going through the same circumstances, but they could be having different experiences. And from the experience that they are perceiving, one child could grow up and be just how their parents were, chaotic in their own home, very attached to alcohol. And however, that other child could be the complete opposite, very calm, very tranquil, deciding to avoid alcohol at all costs. So even though these people were brought up in the same circumstances, it's not about the things that were happening to them, it's how they decided to respond to the things that were happening to them. Narrowing this down even more to maybe a less mellow example, let's say you were having a very bad day at work, things weren't going the way that you want them to go, you were getting yelled at by customers if you worked like in a retail job or something like that, so it's just chaos after chaos after chaos. So you're already frustrated. You come home, turn on the TV, and you find out that whoever the internet provider is for your home has an outage for the next couple hours during that time period. Now to you, even though that could seem like a very minor inconvenience, when you put that on top of the day you already had, you just lose it. So you just pick up the remote, you throw it at the TV. So now you got a crack in your TV. And now you got to go replace that TV. So when you think about that, it goes beyond the fact that you were just having a bad day and things were happening. It's how you decided to respond to the things that were happening. Sometimes we have the ability to make matters worse simply by the way that we're responding. It brings me to this concept of control. There are many things in life we cannot control, yet we try to control them. In fact, the only thing that we can control is ourselves, the way that we think, the way that we decide to put ourselves out in the world, how we respond to the things that are happening to us. So when life is falling apart around you and things that are happening that are outside of your control, that is the time to hone in on things that you can control, which is yourself, your responses, the way you react. Of course, we are all human. I'm not saying have this toxic positivity where you're just out in la la land and you are thinking the best of every situation and you're just pretending like life isn't falling apart around you. That's definitely not what I'm saying, because you want to have acknowledgement to your situation.
Back when I was a pup, me and my litter mates lived with a family full of pranksters who liked to play hide and seek, and I was always it. Pick on the little guy, am I right? They tried putting me in a packing crate, a dumpster. No matter how hard they try, I'd always find them. So one day, they get creative, and they put me in a sock with a rock in it, and then throw me in a river. I gnawed a hole in the sock, and I swam to the surface. Never found them, or my litter mates, so I guess I'm...
But, however, when things start to happen that are outside of your control, that are causing you some frustration, that are causing you to feel a little down, take those moments, maybe take a breath and think about how you want to respond to the things that are happening. Because life is going to life. Like whether we wanted to or not, life is going to throw things at us. But how you respond to it is what is important. Which brings me to the topic of this video. Is life happening to you, or is life happening for you? I feel that is the question that can help you respond to a situation in a positive light or in a negative light. When you change your outlook, you can change your in-look. In order to distinguish the two, I'll give you a similar example, but two different outlooks. So in a situation where life is happening to you, this means this is that mindset of, why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? Like, it's all these questions, and it kind of puts you in a negative headspace. So for example, let's say you've been working at a company for 5 to 10 years. One day you go in, they decide we got to do some layoffs and you're going to be the one to go. So of course, if life is happening to you, you're already thinking about this in a negative situation. You're just like, of all the people in the world, why am I the one losing my job? Of all the people that are working around me, why am I being the one being targeted? What is happening to me? Why? Like, why are all these things happening to me? So it causes you to think about this in a very negative headspace, and you begin to question life, question things that are happening around you. You kind of can spiral into this depression where all of a sudden things aren't making sense. You don't know what you're going to do, all these things because life is happening to you. However, on the flip side, what does life happening for you look like? So when you're thinking about that term, that phrase, life is happening for me, if things are happening for you, nothing is happening wrong. If something is happening for you, it's for your own benefit. So taking that same example, you go into work, they decide they want to lay you off. So instead of being like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? You could think, if life is always happening for me, that means that me being fired from this job must mean something else is going to happen for me in the future. Life is removing this from my situation because something better is going to come, or it's time for me to go on a new path, or however you want to think about it. But the main thing is you're thinking about this as something that's happening for you as opposed to you. And that forces you to look deeper into everything. Throw away the whole bad luck. We could even throw away good luck. We could just call it luck as it is, karma as it is. You could be driving to work and there could be an accident that's all of a sudden backing it up and now you're going to be late. You could think on one hand, why today? Why is this happening to me? Or you could say, maybe there was something that was going to happen later on had I not been delayed 5 minutes. Or maybe there's some terrible thing going on at work right now and it's a good thing that I'm not going to show up on time because I can avoid that. So when you're put in situations that could normally cause you to feel frustrated, you could think, well, how is this benefiting me? And this could be a good time to actually pause the video and think about your life. Reflect on some things that have happened, some crappy things that have happened in your life. Did anything good come from that afterwards? Like, were you like, had that thing not happened, I wouldn't have the thing that I have now. Had this person not cheated on me, would I be dating this person? Had this job not fired me, would I be opening my new business or starting a new career? Had I not been delayed in traffic, I would have ran into those robbers when they arrived at my house. Whatever it may be. Just try to sit and think of any time where something that was less than ideal happened in your life, but then something good came from it afterwards. Even when you think of some of the greats, some of the most inspirational, influential people in the world, when they give these talks, when they do these TED Talks, when they go on these tours, when they're writing their books, at the root of those, there's always some come up story, right? There's like something terrible, something that went completely wrong, something that happened at the lowest point of their life. And then all of a sudden they were able to be who they are today. This is an example of life happening for you. And I understand when you're in those very low moments, of course, you don't see where this could possibly be going. And it's honestly not meant for you to see. Whoever decided that this is what was going to happen, that it's for them to see and for them to dictate. Thing for you to do is just to know that better is coming, to know that, well, if life is happening for me, something good has to be coming from this moment. Yeah, I'm like struggling right now. I'm struggling to make ends meet. I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I can barely afford food. But, I'm on the grind. I'm working. I'm trying to make something of myself. So I know that this situation is going to come out of something else. And it doesn't always have to be something physical. It can just be something mental, something that you learn, something that you can take on and then teach someone else to where it could help them and make them feel good in their life. That can help them get from point A to point B. So I'm not always saying that this grand, like now you're going to randomly get $1 million, you're going to be a best-selling author. Like it doesn't have to be something that's like what the average person would consider such a huge success story. It could be something that's even internalized within you. And sometimes it is unfortunate that we have to go through such trenches to get through a shiny road because, of course, not everyone has that life. Some people, their life is just a fine, average life. They're not going through any hard times and they're just out here living. But some people, in order for them to be great, they have to go through these very, very lows. And why that is, that's not for me to know. That's not for you to know. So I'm definitely not telling you the minute something terrible happens, whenever you're feeling low, just all of a sudden break out of that and just remember good things are going to come because we're human. We're going to have emotions. But I'm challenging you to not stay there, to try to remind yourself and remember that everything's happening for a reason. So if everything's happening for a reason and it's meant to benefit me somewhere on my journey in life, then I just have to be okay with what's happening and allow myself to get through it. You can limit that worry and just trust that things are going to happen when they're supposed to and how they're supposed to. You can spend your time thinking about things in the present moment. You can get out of the past, you can get out of the future, you can focus on now, because you know the path that you are on right now is going to take you where you're supposed to go in due time. It might not come when you think it should come, but it's going to come. And then you can reflect back on those moments and be like, aha. Like they say, hindsight is 20/20. Some things you're not going to understand the reasoning for it until you're years out of that situation. You can look back on your life and understand that's why that happened. And if you want to try to have some foresight, of course you can do that too. If you lose that job, you can be like, I know I'm going to have something better in the future. I know I'm going to have a higher paying job. I know I'm going to have something that's better closer to my location. I know that, I'm probably going to get me a little RV and travel the world now. I know I'm probably going to move out of the country. There's like endless possibilities that can come out of that situation, but that gives you the moment to start dreaming, to start visualizing something different for your life. Sometimes life has to shake us up to put us on new paths that we otherwise wouldn't have been on ourselves. You have to let go of this control. When you think about a baby, baby to maybe about 5 years old, somewhere in that age range, before they start being able to put 2 and 2 together and developing their cognitive and thinking abilities. But you, as the parent, are out to have that child's best interest in heart. So when the child is walking, they're about to walk right into a pothole, and then you pick them up and move them over here. They don't know why they just got moved off the path they were walking on. They just trust, well, I must need to be over here. I don't understand why this person just picked me up and put me on this side of the road, but I'm just going to roll with it. Treat the universe the same way. You might not know why your path just all of a sudden got interrupted. Now you have to go this way, but you have to just trust that this must be where you need to be. I'll even dive into another example here. So just recently I was watching for the first time The Good Dinosaur. Great movie. I loved it. But in this movie, there are 2 species that can't really communicate with each other, right? They just have body language. So in one scene, the dinosaur is going to get some berries. He wants to eat some berries. The little critter is trying to tell him, like, no, don't go over here. But since the dinosaur is thinking, oh, things are happening to me, he's assuming that the critter is trying to do something to hurt him, trying to avoid him getting these berries. He's just thinking that this critter has malintentions. The critter is trying to, bite him, do things to try to communicate, like, hey, it's not safe to go over here. But of course, the dinosaur isn't listening. So he goes over there anyway, and all of a sudden, this giant, cobra snake, hops out of nowhere, and, then he falls off a cliff. So moral of that story is, had the dinosaur been in a different mind frame and assumed that the critter was looking out for his best intentions, things are happening for him, he would be like, there must be a reason that this critter doesn't want me to go over here, so let me not go over here. So there's 2 mindsets. If you're thinking that things are happening to you, it's going to put you in a negative mindset that could then later hurt you, or you could think that things are happening for you, which could put you in a good mindset, and then better things are going to happen for you. So no, life is not happening to me. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening for us. And so I really challenge you to take this concept and apply that in your life going forward. When things are happening, good or bad, I'm not just saying the bad things. When good things are happening to you, also apply that. This is happening for me. When bad things are happening, apply that as well. This is happening for me. I might not know what for, but I know it's for me. I would absolutely love it if in the comments you shared some of those experiences with me. Some moments that maybe weren't the best, but something great came from it afterwards. Do those in the comment box. I love to read them. If you like this video, you know what to do. Go ahead and give me that thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to crush it.